NHL 25 has been out for a month now, and honestly, this game is in a very bad spot. The overall gameplay, if you're a casual player, is actually quite fine. It can be kind of fun. But a lot of what EA has done, not only this year but the last couple of years, has violated the 7 deadly sins: glut, pride, lust, envy, wrath, and more. EA has done a horrible job in creating NHL games, and I'm gonna walk through each of the deadly sins, which is basically just 7 topics. I wanted to be cute with it. I'm gonna walk through how EA has destroyed Hockey Ultimate Team, and at the end, I'm gonna tell my methods of how I would make this game better for the average player. So let's start right off with pride. This game feels more like hockey than it has in a long time. NHL 25 Senior Game Design Director Mike Engelhart goes into detail on how a slower gameplay speed makes the game more realistic. What? Game is more like real hockey than it has been in a long time. No, I'm very surprised this was said, and I'm going to show you some reasons why. In NHL 25, one of the most prolific ways to score is the D-to-D one-timer. And in previous years this had been an issue, but in the most recent years it hadn't been. And there's a really good reason for that. D-to-D one-timers in the real NHL are not effective shots. NHL Edge recently released stats about shooting percentage from current areas. Now, I'm aware that the NHL video game will not have realistic scoring locations to the real-life NHL. A real-life goalie in the NHL averages about a 900 save percentage, or 90% of shots. And in the NHL video game, my goalies average around 80%. Yours might fluctuate a little lower, a little higher. In the NHL, a shot from a typical D-to-D area is a 4% shot. Let's round it up and say in NHL 25, it should be 10%. Let's give them double the percentages. So that means 1 of every 10 D-to-D one-timers should be going in. Let me show you what my experience was with D-to-D one-timers in NHL 25. Out of pure frustration, I decided to play a game against the Superstar AI in NHL 25 to see exactly how many one-timers from the point I can get to go into the net. In this game, on Superstar, I shot 26 unblocked, undeflected, perfect green D-to-D one-timers. Out of those, 15 went into the net, 6 were saved, and another 5 hit the post. If we aren't including shots that hit the post as shots, that means 15 of 21 D-to-D one-timers that were not deflected and were not screened or anything, just clean D-to-D one-timers, went into the net. This is a major oversight, and it is causing people to have to play the game differently. When players are forced to defend the areas on the ice that are traditionally not effective shooting areas, it ruins the game. Player switching in this game is really bad. It's hard to defend. The strategies in this game are really bad. They don't really work. You can be on tight point, high pressure, and if a player knows how to move the puck from low to high, you are still going to give up D-to-D one-timers. And because you can only control one player, players are reliant on their goalie to make saves. It's crazy, but there are times where your goalie will purposely animate out of the way of the puck that is coming directly towards them, even if there's no screen and it's just a clear lane, simply because the game told it, well, it's a green one-timer, it's got to go in. Now, obviously, I don't have proof to say that EA is fudging these results, and I wouldn't say that, but it's pretty weird how sometimes your goalie will just move out of the way of the puck when it's coming right towards them. It doesn't make the game fun. I should be focused as the defender on defending the middle of the ice. I shouldn't have to play with a man in between the defensive lane up at the point, just allowing people to walk into the slot and get free wrist shots, because that's what's happening. It's weird. NHL 25 is the first game I've ever seen where, as you get higher up in the divisions, the skill gap actually lessens. If you are a casual player who does not exploit a lot of the glitch shots or doesn't exploit a lot of D-to-Ds, the game is going to be decently fun for you. But when the game is played at a higher level, and I'm talking about high Division 3 up through Division 1. Once it becomes a D-to-D fest, or everybody knows how to score the same goals, you know, like the glitch goal from the goal line and all that stuff, all of a sudden it just becomes a game of who will get the most pickups. On D-to-Ds, when the rebounds happen, your defensemen collapse. They don't help you out. They don't go out to the point, so the offense just gets it and it becomes a cycle. The best way to play defense in this game is not to player switch. That's not fun either. I should be forced to player switch and play active defense, but in this game, you aren't rewarded for playing active defense, and it leads to a very stagnant experience. It's hard to argue that this game plays more like hockey than it has been in a long time, when on your strategies, players don't go to the back post, your goalies flop around all the time like maniacs, and players are rewarded for not playing with speed. It's way too easy to just move as slow as possible, just shifting left and right, not passing the puck, because eventually, because you can't hit or poke check anyone, you're going to get to the middle and shoot. It's not real hockey. It's glorified shinny. NHL 25 has a rewards problem. In NHL 24, it was very easy for players to accumulate wealth even as a free-to-play player. You didn't have to buy packs. I spent $200 on day one last year, and my team ended up being better than a couple of my friends who spent over $1,000. So it wasn't like money was the driving factor to determine whether or not you had a good team. But with the lack of meaningful rewards, I mean, the XP path doesn't really have any good rewards besides the Jack Eichel and a couple of the 80 overall cards that upgrade to 85 only through the XP tokens, which you can find in the reward path. It's very lackluster. Oftentimes, your rewards just aren't worth the time that you put in. I mean, look at Josh, HK, former US regional champion. He got rank 1 in Hut Champs for week 1, and his best pull was an 81 overall Swedish Elite Hockey League player. It wasn't even an NHLer. This is a big problem, because when you consolidate all the rewards, the point is to offer more rewards. EA used it as an excuse to take away and strip every other mode of its rewards, therefore stripping away any reason to play these modes, and tried to replace them with packs. There is no more Hut middle class. This is like USSR communism. There's no more bourgeoisie. There's no middle class in Hut anymore. It's either you're rich and you spend money to get ahead, or if you don't want to spend any money, EA has specifically told us that it does not matter what we do unless we are lucky and have the lottery pull of our lives. We are not going to be able to progress any faster than the next guy, regardless of how much you grind, regardless of the skill level. The bonus packs in the XP path are garbage. There was someone who opened up packs on No Sleeves' stream, and the packs were mostly bronze cards and a couple 80s. Definitely not worth the value of going up almost 70 levels. And to make things even worse, certain cards you can't even pull. Holograms that cost about 1.6 million coins as of last week each. You can't pull those. X Factor McDavid costs 4.9 million coins. You can't pull him either. You can't even pull the X Factor captains. All you can pull are the base X Factor cards and the base icons. By the way, these cards also won't go up, which is another way EA wants to drive up the price of packs and force people to have to purchase packs. Because if you don't, you're going to fall behind. EA wants to say that you can play any game mode.
The thought was, trying to get all the rewards in the game, you were forced to play every mode, and not every player wants to play every mode within Hockey Ultimate Team. Some might want to focus on just purely the competitive. Some might not want to even dabble in competitive, and they just want to play offline against AI-controlled teams.
But if you don't play wildcard or do your moments, you're also going to fall behind. It's just not true what EA says. It doesn't. You have to play specific game modes, and the game modes that people want to play, the rivals, the Hut Champs, just aren't rewarding enough and aren't worth the time. Do people really want to try and get an 85 Mike Green or an 85 Patrick Marleau when they have to sit through, some of the worst gameplay in 1v1 that I've seen in years? Because again, the base gameplay is good, but the things that are bad about it make it so bad that it's not worth playing. There are really good players I know who purposely do not want to get into the top 100 because the packs that you get for finishing right outside the top 100 are better than the packs you get for placing from, 50th to 100th, where you're getting an 85 overall card, or even if you finish 21st to 50th, you are getting a Hut Champs mini pack, which is just not enough. You need to reward people who are good at this game and allow them to get ahead to create an incentive to get better at the game. Because when you create an incentive to get better at the game and you reward people for doing so, more people will play your game instead of the viewership dropping by almost 60% since the game released less than a month and a half ago. For me, the straw that broke the camel's back was the Cover Athlete event, which was the first event of the year. If you pre-order the deluxe edition of the game, which cost $129.99 Canadian, in your pre-order bonuses, you could pick a 84 Luke Hughes, 84 Jack Hughes, or an 84 Quinn Hughes. In the event, you could take 2 additional 85 cover athletes, add them to your 84 Hughes card, and create an 86 overall card. Now, this isn't an issue, but the issue is that each card cost 432,000 coins, which means that if you had the 84 Quinn Hughes and you wanted to upgrade him from an 84 to an 86, it would cost you 864,000 coins. And if you wanted to build him from scratch because you didn't pre-order the deluxe edition of the game, it would cost you 1.296 million coins. An absolutely ridiculous price, especially when you consider that us as the consumer already had to pay an additional $40 from the base game up to the deluxe edition just to get the 84 card in the first place. A lot of people want to say, oh, you can get more coins, oh, you can finish objectives. Again, it does not matter if the cost of everything else goes up. Yes, you may have more coins, but your buying power has significantly decreased because there's nothing on the market and everything in response has gone up. Going from an 84 to an 86 should not cost almost 1 million coins, and just acquiring an 86 overall player from scratch should not cost 1.3 million. This is an extreme amount of greed from EA, expecting me to pay almost 1 million coins to go up in 2 overalls. No shot. Also, with these rewards, you are going to see players having the same teams over and over. These Hut Champs cards, again, I'd like to point out the green and the Marlowe. It's not like it's a choice pack where you can pick 1 of 3 or 1 of 5 players. No, every player, whether it's the 84 or the 85 currently, are getting the same player. There's a lot of players who get 10 wins every week, so they're all going to get the 84. There's a lot of players, 100, who get into the top 100. They're all going to have the 85s. You're telling me that there's going to be 400, 500 teams on each console with the same card, just 1 overall difference? That's ridiculous. In Hockey Ultimate Team, the goal is to build the ultimate team, but a team that fits what you want. If you are a Canuck fan, you should be able to go and get current and former Canucks and build up your team. It shouldn't just be, oh, every first line is going to be Lindros, Matthews, Kucherov, or Nylander, Matthews, Kucherov, or, having McDavid, McKinnon. It shouldn't all be the same teams. And with the current reward structure, with the Eichel that everyone gets, again, not a choice pack, the Hut Champs rewards, the lack of meaningful squad battles and rivals rewards, and the bad packs in the XP path, it means that the good rewards that everybody get is going to be the same. So you're just going to play the same teams every single game, and it gets repetitive, it gets monotonous, it gets boring, and it needs to be fixed now. The wrath portion of this video is not necessarily wrath from EA, although them forcing us to play this product, is not fun and is a bit wrathful on their part, but it's more the wrath of the consumer. I see so many people who message me or comment on my Twitch stream saying, what am I doing wrong? The game screwed me over this way, one way or the other. And here's my answer to most of them. It's not your fault. A lot of the times the game will just decide, it doesn't work for me, brother. Like when you go to play defense and a guy just straight lines through you because poke checks don't work, or when they fly up the boards and hitting doesn't work. So you've lined someone up, you go to mash them, they just slip through with an arm behind their back. They've gotten rid of so many of the things that eliminated a lot of the RNG. And naturally, hockey is a very unpredictable sport. Again, we can see the Columbuses of the world beating up on the Oilers really bad. But in a game where it's supposed to be best talent, the cream of the crop rises, this game has too much RNG and it allows people who, quite frankly, shouldn't be beating certain individuals. It just allows them to be 50-50 players. It's not supposed to be like real hockey in terms of the results. If you are better than your opponent, you should win. But there's just so much RNG involved. Again, the lack of hitting, the lack of poke checks, the ability to just take random shots from anywhere that go in, but when you get into the slot and you go and take shots, the goalie just robs them. it really gaslights you into believing that it's your fault that you're not succeeding, whether it's the players on your team or I'm not grinding enough. No, a lot of the times you put yourself in great positions. The game just does not reward you. So not only is it not rewarding you in terms of the rewards you get, but when you get into a game, you might feel screwed over on a multiple time basis per day just because you're not being rewarded. Games where, 5 consecutive D2D one-timers going against you, but then you shoot 10 or 11 and only one goes in. It's hard not to feel bitter. It's hard not to be mad. You should be mad, and EA should be disappointed in putting out this product without a beta. There was no beta. All they had was the design council, and I'm not even sure, as someone who isn't a game changer, again, I am not an EA game changer or on the design council, I don't know how stringent and how, on point the alpha testing was for the design council. There needs to be more of a player base being able to prevent things like this happening. If there was a beta, we would have been able to tell people, hey, the D2D one-timers are too overpowered, instead of us being stuck with it for 30 days with no patch on the horizon. Again, don't let the game gaslight you into thinking that it's all your fault. It's never all of your fault. EA has produced a subpar product that rewards people who should not be winning games and allowing them to win games, and it's making you mad, and again, not your fault. That is shame on EA. I want to start off the MV piece by stating that this is 100% an opinionated section. Reason why I want to say this is that no one can then turn it on me and say, oh, you got this and this wrong, or whatever the case may be. I'm trying to protect myself by stating this is 100% opinionated. Back in the PS3 days, early PS3 days, NHL 09 was one of the most groundbreaking sports games ever. Truthfully, the addition of ESHL really added to the landscape of sports gaming and allowing people to have actual teams and challenge for cups and build a team with their friends. Hockey Ultimate Team, on the other hand, wasn't out in NHL 09. In fact, it didn't come in until NHL 11, when almost every other EA game had an Ultimate Team mode up to that point. Now, Ultimate Team has dominated EA games for a long time, and they are one of the primary sources of revenue. EA, for example, their microtransactions account for a lot of their annual revenue. Once NHL 15 hit and the EA team got a little bit smaller with the addition of UFC, and then again they got a little bit smaller with the addition of F1, EA NHL has fallen behind the other sports games. Again, one of the least popular sports in America in terms of the big four. The NHL has always been considered the little brother, and EA NHL is no exception. Madden makes more money. FIFA makes a lot more money. The NHL player base is just really small. In an attempt to make up some of that revenue, they've decided to look at a game like Madden and their model and adopt it. Things like BND cards that have been added to the game, which in reality are just scams. BND cards are awful. Yes, it allows them to give us more cards to use on our team, but the fact that I'm going to grind for a card that I can't even use in a set is asinine. I should be able to use any card that I get in a set. It's about collecting. There's a segment of players who all they do is they flip cards and then play offline. If you offer them BND or binder bound or account bound cards, all of a sudden those cards become useless. And to make things worse, it's ruined the sets too. I can't even sort by non-binder or non-bound cards. I have to sort by either tradable or untradeable. I can't even autofill because it won't allow me if there's a BND card. BND cards are truthfully just a way for EA to, again, strip more rewards from people. Instead of, just giving people lower tradable rewards, they say, oh, let's give you a card you can actually use on your team, but by the way, this is the, take now and pay back later method, where all of a sudden, once that 84 is not worth being on your team, it's gone forever. There's no value. You don't hold any value. You can't just offload it to get a collectible. No, they're just gone. You just won't use them again unless you're going to use them in wildcard. It's ridiculous how they've tried to make it as oh, we are helping you get more rewards, when in reality, it has just made the market worse. Everything they're rewarding now is BND cards, not untradeable cards, again, that you can put in a set. Everything's a BND card. The 84 Duren, BND card. 87 Eichel, BND card. The XP Path 80s, all BND cards. This is just a way of forcing you to, again, get more packs. Because how else you don't have any fodder any other way unless you get packs. And again, no rewards in squad battles, not enough rewards in hut champs, no rewards in rivals, forces you to play wildcard where the rewards you're getting are subpar. So at the end of the day, again, they're just trying to funnel you to packs. And the reason why they're doing this, because they want to be able to say, hey, look, we make as much money proportionally to our fan base as FIFA and Madden do. What they don't understand is that temporary gains is going to lead to long-time losses. People who spend money on a video game do it because they're happy. Look at MLB The Show, for example. In MLB 19, they introduced an XP reward path. The first path had like Cy Young and a really good cards, and eventually they became 99s, and there were so many packs. You can't do Team Affinity now in MLB or any program without walking away with a 50-pack bundle. And yes, the packs are not great. You're going to get an 85 once every 50 packs, and 85s hold almost no value in MLB, but at least you have the chance. Now, again, it's just repeatable rewards. Here's some B&D cards. We want you to get packs. Get the packs. Buy the packs. Buy the packs. Not understanding that by having this, it's just going to drive players away, and then no one's going to buy packs. So EA, you need to stop looking at the short term and try and look more into the future. If you make people happy and give people more rewards, they're going to stick around, and when you reward people, they will be more inclined to spend money on your product. Now what you have is a bunch of people who, even the hut whales, the microtransaction whales, don't want to spend money on the game because it costs so much more in order to get the things they want. And at least in MLB, when I get a card, I'm always moving up. I can always collect a non-base card and put it towards a season collection. You know, if I want to get one of the 99 overall season collection cards, I have to collect 300 cards, which sounds like a lot, but in every program, there's cards to collect. So you get rewarded for grinding, and you are always moving up. So whether it's picking up a 99 CC Sabathia or picking up a 93 Rich Alluria or any of those cards, yes, people are getting the same rewards up to the mid-tier. And then once you get up to the top rewards, then people can choose what cards they want. You know, and you get rewarded for playing specific modes. Events, for example. A lot of people don't want to play events, but it's different rule sets each time. It could be a moonshot event where you have common pitchers and diamond hitters, and you're getting rewards at 15, 10 rewards, and rewards throughout, whether it's packs or the actual player rewards. If I want to go get a 91 Hyper Series Taylor Rogers, well, I'm going to play a bunch of the event games. I'm going to win those games. I'm going to get rewarded for winning 15 or 20 games. And then once the event's over, the price of the card goes up because you can't get any more. It's exclusive to the people who got that. And then if you didn't want to play events, you can still buy it on the market, but it might be a little bit more expensive. Ranked seasons. If I am skilled enough to get up to 900, I'll get the World Series reward, and it'll be tradable. I'll be able to trade it to someone who might not be able to get there. And if you can't get there, you can still get one of the 2 World Series Choice Pack players just by playing the game and getting up to 100 program stars. Yes, it's untradeable and you can't put into a set, but that's the moment you should give out account-bound cards. When you're giving people the opportunity to use cards that they couldn't get otherwise. You're rewarding them for grinding a long time, but you're not giving them this top reward of, hey, like, you're not a top player, so you're not going to get the tradable version, but we're still going to grant you the opportunity to use a card that you really like. Because the last thing people want is cards hidden behind arbitrary walls, but at the same time, you got to reward the people who are really good at the game. For example, Battle Royale. It is the hardest mode in the game. It is a cutthroat mode, nice draft mode, but if you go 10-0, you get a really nice reward that holds its value. Once a Battle Royale season ends, the previous season's rewards can go up for 500,000 to 1,000,000 stubs, which is enough to complete you an entire league, either the American League or the National League, for your live series collection. You can also get the Battle Royale flawless cards from there, but you can't sell those either, which again means that the top players in the world are gonna get the cards and they're gonna be able to trade them. But the guys at the very bottom aren't going to be screwed over by going up against cards that people don't have. It's just they have to grind longer to get them. Reward people for playing your game, EA. Either reward them for playing it for a long time or reward them for being really good. You can't have this mushy middle where, oh, you're just playing to get B&D cards and that's it, whether you're the tippity top or the bottom of the bottom. No, you need to guarantee people rewards for their time. When there's nothing guaranteed to play for, nobody wants to play it, and when everything's the same, no one wants to play it. Again, it just gets boring. In MLB, you're always moving up. You can always build a team. You can build an all-speed team. You can build an all-power team, an all-fielding team, an all-pitcher velocity team. In NHL, because the attributes are all so tightly, knitted together, all of a sudden it's just EA arbitrarily inflating and deflating stats and giving meta abilities, and if you don't use those cards, you're a fish out of water. That's just not how the game should be played. There's a reason why players like Elias Pettersson, before the season, when one-timers were effective, no one used Elias Pettersson cards despite the fact that he has a legitimate 100-point season under his belt. There's no reason why one of the best players in hockey shouldn't be used by a majority of people simply because, oh, his build is bad. That's not how sports works. There's more than just size that goes into this. There's more than just speed. If there's anyone in the mushy middle, they're left out. So it's always going after the best rewards, and it just leads to people having the same team. It's like Angel in the outfield. Build it, and people will come. If you build a game and reward people, and you give them the opportunity to be unique, to express themselves, people will come. People will stay. I rather have 1 million people spending $5 on microtransactions than having 5,000 people spend $50 on microtransactions. Build it and they will come. Make people happy and they will come. Stop trying to separate your identity from hockey and stop trying to be like Madden, because you're not Madden. You don't have the fan base that Madden does. You need to work up and build your reputation back up from the ground, because ever since NHL 15, that's where the reputation of this game's been. We can all argue about Mike Engelhart games versus Ben Ross games, but we all had the same complaints. EA can never keep something in the middle. It's either all the way one way, all the way the other way. Either it's completely the only way to get good cards is by spending money, or it's not worth spending money at all. It's not worth being good, or anything like that. It's never, even when it comes to gameplay, hits are either way too powerful or they're way too weak. They never find a middle ground, and that's what EA NHL needs. They need to find the perfect ground of incentivizing people to spend money on the game, while also incentivizing and rewarding people who do not spend money on the game, but instead spend all of their free time on your game. Reward people for playing your game. It's not rocket science. One of the major issues that I have in NHL 25 are the packs and how predatory the prices are. For example, fantasy hockey event. Actually, one of the good fantasy hockey events. First time I've been able to participate. And what EA did really good, and it's probably the best thing they've done all year, is give people the opportunity to get these cards. I have a fantasy hockey Charlie Coyle and a fantasy hockey Ryan Strome, just from doing the objectives. And that's how EA should be doing it, rewarding people for playing their game. They didn't really do it during Cover Athlete, but they've done it well with fantasy hockey. But when we go to the packs, fantasy hockey pack, BND, which again, scam, contains one Week 2 fantasy hockey player, account bound. Now, the price of this is 8,000 EA points. If I go to purchase that, I can't buy 8,000 points straight up. I can't click on the pack and then say, oh, I want 8,000 points. No, I would have to buy the 6,250 plus the 3,000, which is going to cost me $90 before tax. Or I could just say, screw it, 13,120 Canadian dollars. Let's say I go for the cheaper option, right? I go for the 6,250 and I go for the 3,000. That's $90, right? I have to spend $90 to use $80 worth of my points on this, and I could get a duplicate. I could get a Charlie Coyle, I could get a Ryan Strome, and I couldn't do anything with it because it's BND. You are asking people to spend basically the price of the base game on one pack for a pack that could just be a repeatable card that you can't do anything with. So you would just be wasting $80. This is predatory. At the very least, if you wanted to do this, you should make it so that you can't have duplicate BND cards, but they don't do that. What about this pack, the Ultimate Player Booster Pack? This pack has been in the store since day one of the game. It is October 29th at 7:39 a.m. as I record this. This pack has been out since September 27th at 12,000 points per pack, and you could buy 2 a day. Again, if I wanted to, I'd have to spend $120 per pack, almost the price of the full game. And for what? Because I'm guaranteed 1080s and 183? I don't care if 80s are the quote-unquote new 84. We've been preconditioned for the last half decade that 80s are bad, and guess what? 80s still are bad except for sets. An 83 overall player, I can't even use on my team. All of the players on my team are 83 plus, and I guarantee you if you've played a decent amount since the game's come out, an 83 will soon be off your team as well. This is Predatory. 2 packs. You could buy 2 of these a day. $240 a day you could spend on this pack alone. 240 multiplied by 30 days is almost $7,200 you could potentially spend on this pack, and all you would have walked away with it from is 64 83 pluses plus all those 80 pluses, which is all gonna just be for sets. These cards aren't good. They're not gonna fit on your team. Oh, I can do sets, but I'm not spending points to try and do sets. A 900,000 coin pack, most cards on the market aren't 900,000 coins. A McDavid's 345,000. I'd have to pull 3 McDavids in this one pack just to make up my coins, because it's not like I can pull the X Factor captains. It's not like I can pull the holograms. These prices are through the roof. They are predatory. And when one of the biggest marketing ploys for NHL is through pack videos made by people like Dino Krista, by Thrash, by Henrique, and all of a sudden those people don't want to spend money on packs because it's simply not worth it, all of a sudden you've just taken away a lot of the viewership that promotes this game in the first place. EA, I'm not sure what you're doing with this, but these are predatory to the max. Even this one, even these packs, a greater chance of getting a fantasy hockey player. If I'm spending almost $20, I better get a fantasy hockey player, because $20 is $20. If I want to spend 12,000 points on this pack at $120, because I have to get the 13,000, $120 in BC where I live, minimum wage is around $17 an hour. You would have to work a full shift just to buy this pack. Now, I'm not saying if you're on minimum wage you should be buying this pack. Please don't buy this pack. Don't buy any packs in this game. But the point is that most people who are watching this video, even if you consider yourself to be lower middle class to middle class in real life, chances are it's going to take you an hour or 2 of real life hard work to be able to afford a pack that's going to be worth almost nothing to you. Not only is these cards just going to reset in a year anyway, but the cards' value now aren't worth anything. Again, for the last time, I'm going to say it, completely predatory. EA, you cannot do this and expect people to want to actually buy packs. The last sin that EA committed was Sloth. They violated this sin years ago. Remember NHL 23 when the wraparound was a prevalent goal, where people were literally fogging up the glass behind your net because they would just spin on the boards with their face mashed into the glass, just trying to look for that backdoor pass play, the Polg's goal. Remember the wraps that weren't patched. Remember how there was no patches all year, and we were told, well, we're not going to do a patch this year because we want to focus on NHL 24. NHL 24, the goalies are diving everywhere. They're allowing seeing eye wrist shots from Narnia to go in. Hitting has speed boost attached to it so that you're going a million miles an hour and you can catch people on breakaways. We've given EA so many chances. We've given this development team so many chances to get things right, and it just doesn't happen. And when things are wrong, it takes so long to get a patch. Unless it's something that benefits the community. If it's a pack method, well, all of a sudden that gets patched really quick. Remember the pack apocalypse last year? Yes, reward packs were good, but remember those packs that you would get from the set on a pack apocalypse day? Well, those got patched real quick. It's just another example of EA only doing work when it benefits them. If the community suffers for 30 days, 60 days, then there's no problem. The DDD one-timers have been a problem in this game for over a month. 32 days. That is 1/12 of the game cycle. Reminder that in sports games, people typically bow out after about 6 months. And when it comes to NHL 25, it would not surprise me if people bow out the month after Team of the Year. So around February time, which would mean that this game's lifespan is about 4 months, maybe 5 if they're lucky. So in reality, this D2D extravaganza and all the bad defense and all, taking away people's ability to defend properly or play proper hockey has been in the game for about 20% of the overall life cycle of the game. Just about 8% if you are actually playing for the whole 12 months. When there's this amount of inaction, it drives people away because people expect things to get patched in a week or two, and I understand patches take time, but you wouldn't have had to patch any of this stuff if you would have just, one, listened to your design council, because the people on it are smart enough to know when things are a problem, or two, you do a beta where everyone else would have told you what your design council would have done, which is patch all this stuff. You're in action, EA's in action to have a beta, to test this stuff, to take any action on the things that they get wrong, leads to people just leaving and not coming back. Why, or even getting refunds. Why not get a refund? Oh, a game's broken, I'm just gonna wait for EA Game Pass, or I'm gonna wait for Xbox Game Pass, EA Play, for the game to be out. Why? Because it's not worth spending full price for a game that's only half made. It just doesn't make sense. Again, when things need to be patched, they need to be patched immediately. Things like the menus have been slow for so long. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt. If you go back and watch my game impressions video on NHL 25 for the trailer, I thought that the menus would get faster because we were moving the new gen, or current gen now, full time. Nope, they're still slow. GM mode, menus are still slow. ESHL, you can't even search. You can't even set your search parameters to take out certain servers, to take out club sizes. So sometimes you'll match people without a goalie. Sometimes you'll have a team of 6 and you'll match a team of 3. It's ridiculous. And when it's taking up this much of the game's life cycle, no wonder people are going to be mad. No wonder why you're going to get a video like this from me telling you that you've been pulling some BS. It's just not acceptable. I understand the EA NHL team is small, but when it's small, you need to take feedback from everyone. You need to get every little single piece of feedback from every little nook and cranny of the community. When there's a lack of communication, and we get one tweet from Clapperton all year long, and it's usually about, you know, a patch note. We've had 2 or 3 patches by now, and none of them have been gameplay related. It's ridiculous. You can't expect people to just sit around all day long when new games are coming out. Black Ops 6 just came out. Zombies is really fun. You think people are going to want to play NHL when they do everything right and get screwed over by 70 to Ds, when instead they can go play zombies with their friends or multiplayer with their friends and grind up and get rewarded for leveling up in any game mode they want? Of course they're going to play that instead of a game that doesn't love them as much as they love it back. At the end of the day, I'm a hockey fan. You watching this are probably a hockey fan. We want this game to be the best possible game, but when there's a lack of communication, when there's a lack of foresight, when there's a lack of testing for anything, it just leads the fan base to being mad. It leads me to being frustrated because I want to be able to make good content for this game. But with how the rewards are, I can't make good content because I can't get half of the cards. I can't do half of the things I want to do, and at this point, playing the game feels like chores. There's so many people. Go watch Papa Goes on Twitch. His stream titles are always something about clocking in. I clock in at 7 p.m., I clock out at 10. It feels like chores. At this point, I don't even play Rivals off stream, unless it's to do the daily objectives to get my daily hat trick collectible, which I'm using to upgrade Robin Lehner, but it doesn't even matter because his no timer ability isn't going to work on half of the goals that go in. It's just completely asinine that EA expects us to just take this and not say anything about it. Again, I'm not a game changer, and I worry that this video might ever disqualify me from being one, but I'm saying this with good intentions. I want this game to be better, and in the next segment, I'm going to tell you guys how I would fix the game, because I love this game and I want it to be better. I want it to be the best because we don't have another hockey game to resort to. EA, you are our only hope, and stop kicking us in the face with this nonsense. To wrap up, I want to talk about some of the things that I would do personally if I was EA NHL to help make the game better. First of all, rewards. We gotta bring back old Hut Champs rewards, and when I say old, I mean old Hut Champs rewards. We need rewards that actually incentivize players that get better. I'm talking about ultimate packs. I'm talking about exclusive player choice packs. So instead of just getting a Marlowe, you could be like me when I got my first ever top 20 in Hut Champs and I got the chance of picking either between Kyler Yamamoto or John Jason Peterka. Like, there needs to be more choice. There needs to be more of incentive to get better at the game. We also need more ways of grinding the game, period. Wildcard is monotonous. There's skill-based matchmaking. We can't be having this in Wildcard, which honestly is just glorified Hut Rut. Every game mode is sweaty. Skill-based matchmaking is a good thing for games. I know that's a controversial statement. People in shooter games in particular hate skill-based matchmaking, but it's a good thing. For example, Hut Champs. It does skill-based matchmaking based on your Hut Champs record. Rivals, it gives you your skill rating, and then there you go. Wildcard is supposed to be a pick-up and play mode. It's supposed to be something where you just plug in, you grind mindlessly, you get your rewards. We just can't be having these rewards be bad and forcing people to play. Now, things like squad battles should be rewarded. If you play squad battles, you should be rewarded. Again, it's not about people having to get every reward. It's supposed to be rewarding the people that play specific modes so that even if they don't play one mode or two modes, they aren't left behind. Let people pick the way they want. Don't tell people that they can play the way they want, and then in the meantime, all of the things that you've done has really said the opposite. People have to play moments. People have to play wildcard. That's unacceptable, and it's just complete lie from what EA stated. Next up for the XP path, we gotta get more packs in there. We cannot be having packs such as 5+ 67s. We need packs that are actually worthwhile. And I'm talking about things like you get up to level 15, you get a free 83 team builder. We need more rewards that people are going to be able to use to move up. If you want to keep it so that people are all progressing kind of at the same pace, the very least you can do is make it so that when you go up the XP path faster, you do have a little advantage, and that's the reward you get for grinding the game out. So if I want to get a couple 83 team builders, they should be in the path, and even if they're later, at least reward people for getting there, and then they have a slight team advantage by getting there first. In the XP path, I personally think you should be able to build 2 team builders. I personally believe that you should be able to build 4 to 6 base X factors just from the rewards you get from the XP path, because at least out of those, then you can take the X factors and turn them into an X factor captain that you want. And then once you get all 4 of those, you can get the McDavid, and then you can choose 2 of the X factor captain cards BND, which again is when you should offer BND rewards. Reward people for spending all the time collecting something, but don't force them to just give it away. Give it back to them as BND. That makes sense. Don't give people new rewards with BND cards. That's just a scam and a way of driving up the market and leaving people the packs. That is not cool. My idea would just be having more choice packs. Now, we do have the 80 overall BND choice packs, and most people are able to get 1 up to 85, and then but it's all kind of arbitrary. You can pick and choose and switch and swap depending on your team's needs. But we all get the 87 Eichel, and that's unacceptable. Now, I think each XP path needs those 80 overall BND cards. I wouldn't make them BND, but I think they do need those cards because at least there is some differences in teams. You know, some people are using the Line A, some people are using the Draisaitl. I've switched. I've used Draisaitl, I've used Line A, I've used almost everyone at one point or another. So that is a fine idea, but they can't be the main headliners. Now, the Eichel, like I said, it's the same. Well, why not have it so that there's 1 center, 1 defenseman, or maybe 2 forwards, 2 defensemen? At least there's a choice to where people can go and choose one of the top rewards and have it all be balanced and whatnot, but at least make it so that there's some differences. And in the bonus packs have to be way better. I'm talking about each pack needs to guarantee multiple 80 pluses. And Hut Champs packs, they need to guarantee multiple 80 pluses. We need a way to get more things to the market, because again, there is no arenas on the market. There's barely any coaches on the market. 80 overalls are going for 20,000, so when people are saying they have 700,000, it doesn't matter when each 80 costs 20k. It really doesn't. So we need to find a way to drive the prices down while also keeping the team uniqueness up and also giving people more rewards. So the way you're going to do that, incentivize people for playing the game, make rewards tradable, and stop giving out everything in BND. It just doesn't make sense. In terms of the gameplay, here's what I would do. Don't allow skill-based one-timers from the point. And if you want to allow skill-based one-timers from the point, make it so that the goalie isn't arbitrarily moving out of the way, seemingly on purpose to get out of the way of the shot. I'm really sick of seeing 55 mile per hour, no screen one-timers from the point going straight in just because it's a green. I really don't like that. What you need to do is incentivize things like screens, like deflections, traffic in front. When the DDD goes through and it goes posting in and there's 5 people in front of the goalie, that's fine because it was a perfect shot and the goalie never saw it. But if there's no one in front, the goalie should be able to save it. Stop getting the goalies to slam all the way into the far post. Stop having player switching be so bad that people can't even block the one-timer, and give goalies a boost for far out shots in the heat seeker range that aren't screened. Give goalies that boost so that they can actually make the saves. That way, the one-timers that should go in, the ones through the screens or the ones on the flank, they will go in, but the ones from 60 feet out that are legitimately 4% shooting percentage shots in the real NHL don't go 15 for 21, which is 71%, which is almost a B in high school here in British Columbia. Getting a B is 73%. We were 1.6% off of a B. That is simply unacceptable from EA. And then for defense, poke checking and stick lifts and hitting needs to go back a couple years. For hitting, we need NHL 24 hitting back, not entirely. I don't want the speed boost hits. None of us want the speed boost hits, but the hitting power should stay the same while the hitting assistance should be lowered. This is a way you keep it in the middle. Make it so that when I actually do hit someone, it's a skill gap. I haven't had my player suck into the other player. It's not Black Hole Sun where I get a hitting assistance and I can follow a player just by holding down the right stick. No, make it so that when I actually do time and perfectly position myself for hit, I'm knocking them over. I'm knocking them on their butt. I'm dislodging them from the puck. None of this, oh, I do a shove check and I'm directly in front of them, but they're still going to push through with possession of the puck. No more, oh, I'm just going to straight line through both of your players. You're going to throw a poke, but because I'm going so fast, it doesn't matter. The puck's going to poke off, hit me in the shin, I'm going to get a breakaway. No more of this. It can't happen. It just makes the game less fun, it makes it more unpredictable, and it leads people to just scoring goals that they shouldn't. I don't mind rebounds. I don't mind deflections. Those are real hockey plays. What's not a hockey play is 8 times a game someone straight lining up the boards without a pass, or even worse, playing horizontal hockey in the neutral zone, passing it 30 times in the neutral zone before entering the zone. Hockey's played fast, it's played with speed in straight lines. Defense matters. People hit it. You have to be quick. You got to move the puck in a straight line. No more of this glorified pond hockey nonsense. This is men's hockey. This is National Hockey League hockey. There are women players, but they can hit too, right? So the men got to be able to hit. They got to be able to play defense. You can't just allow all of these offensive tools to run rampant and then take all of the talent away from the defense. Again, you can't player switch. Player switching has been broken since NHL 23. NHL 22 is perfect. You could player switch no matter how bad you were, as long as that was a talent that you knew how to possess, you were going to be able to player switch to whoever you want all the time. Now, you can't player switch to the person in the middle. You can't even pass target to the person in the middle on a 3-on-2. It'll just go to the far side guy. These are the small things that take a game from really good to, oh my gosh, this is unbearable and I don't want to play anymore. It's the little things. I want to be able to make a 2-foot pass. I want to be able to switch to the guy in the middle so I can block a shot. It shouldn't just be all this stuff where at the end of the day, I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, I lost because I couldn't do a player switch when it was obvious who I was trying to switch to. Or, oh, I gave up a breakaway because I went to send a pass to the guy in the middle, but it decided to go to the far side guy, and it got picked off for a breakaway the other way, and I got scored on and lost in overtime. There's too many things in this game that are out of the player's control. We need to hand everything back into the hands of the player. Let the players control their fate, whether it's the actual gameplay, and then with the packs, reward them for being good in-game, give them the packs that match their skill, and then reward them for getting to that point. Stop making it so that people like me, who was rank 8, rank 8's still really good in Hut Champs, I got better rewards than the rank 1 guy tenfold. I made 4 times his value, and for what? He goes 20-0, I went 19-0-1. HK should get the better card. He shouldn't be screwed over just because the game decided, oh, I'm going to give you an 81 overall Swedish Elite Hockey League player. It just doesn't make sense. Once you give people an incentive to play the game, they're going to play it. And I just want this game to be the best it can be. So EA, I am putting this on you. I am challenging you to patch this game because the base gameplay in this game is really good. But I equate it, as someone who has dealt with cancer before, I equate it to a cancerous organ. 95% of this game is great, but there is 5% that is so diseased that if it does not get patched and contained, it is going to spread to the rest of it, and it is going to ruin this game for another year. Because we've had 3 years now of subpar games that have been passed off as AAA sports titles, and we are sick of it. EA, I'm challenging you, and I'm trying to be as nice about it as I can. Make this game good, because you are our only hope. Please. And with that being said, I'd like to take time and thank you guys for watching this video. This video took a lot of work. I'm just kind of getting it together now. I'm really mad at the state of this game, and I'm sure you are too. Go into the EA forums, tell people, tell your favorite content creators who are on the design council, maybe their words can help. I know a lot of the times talking to EA is like talking to a brick wall. I feel that sometimes too. But at the end of the day, the only things they're going to listen to are your voice and your wallet. Don't spend money on packs in this game. It's not worth it. You're going to get screwed in the end, and it's not worth the money that you put in. Groceries, for example, they're expensive enough. Go spend your $120 on groceries instead of a pack that's going to get you an 83 overall. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys soon. Again, twitch.tv/Sapsterr. I went on this whole rant, but I'm still going to play this game because I'm hopeless. Have a great day, and ciao.